that woman. And everybody want to talk crazy, everybody have their own opinions about it. I don't care what your opinion is. If that woman was intelligently educated about God, the devil himself, she would have known when they pulled her over that she's about to encounter two devils. And she would not have provoked them because she would have had the knowledge of the devil. And this is important to know. I don't care what nobody says. I used to deal with these people all the time. And I want you to ask the question, what is wrong with these people? And I'm going to say this again. If you remember the James Brown movie. James Brown movie, in that movie, Little Richard told him, said, James, that's when the devil comes. And he ain't going to be no fiery, he ain't going to be no red man with a fiery tail. He said he going to be white in a fancy suit. That was a true statement. He was trying to tell him the devil is a man, and why we missed it, because while they got us looking for the devil in spirit, he operating on earth as a man. And these are the things that we must understand so we know how to deal with these people more effectively. I didn't know what I was dealing with until I read Elijah Muhammad's book, and when he explained that, I said, oh my God. He said the race of devils that you have been reading about in the Bible is a race of people. It's not this red man on a hot sauce bottle. It's not something figment of our imagination. It's real. These are people that we're dealing with. What do you call people that can hang a man from a tree, set his body on fire, tar and feather him, and watch this for entertainment with their children while eating popcorn and cotton candy? These are devils that did this. And this is what we have to deal with. Because when I say devils to people, a lot of people run around and say, oh man, you're talking crazy. Oh really? Okay, well you're going to tell me these were human beings that could do this to people? These are the devils that you've been reading about, but you don't know what you're looking at. And because they have passed these Civil Rights Bill and the Voting Rights Act, and whatever you want to call it, Civil Rights Bill and the Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Bill, because they did all that, now these devils have went from doing things overtly out in the open to doing it in a covert operation under the cover. So they only went from doing things from overt to covert. They went from doing things in the open to doing things in the dark. But they have not stopped doing what they're doing to us, and that's why we have to be the ones to pass this information. This is not no joke. This is a very real time. And the information is critical for our people to have. We think it's a joke when it's not. Just like in the Bible, they have a race of people called the beast. But you have a lot of ministers that say, oh, the beast is the devil. You're right. The beast is the devil. But what race were they talking about? That's where you got to really pinpoint the truth and the facts. You're right when you say the beast is the devil. But what race was the beast? Nobody knows. They just want to say, oh, that's the devil. No, let's narrow this down. Because we got to open up the door to our common sense. Look at that movie Gladiator. They profess to you who the devil and who the beast actually was. In the time of Daniel, they said the beast of the field. Why did they call these people beasts? Because when these beings left the planet and went back to their star system, before they left again, they carved out pictures of their aircraft and put them on the pyramid walls. I got pictures of them, and the bottom line is that before they left, these people was ruling the planet. There was nobody that was going to argue with these people when they were on the planet. Who was going to argue with beings like this here that can hit Sodom and Gomorrah with a nuclear blast? So what they did before they left, to make sure that the people knew that this is nothing new, they carved the pictures of their aircraft and put them inside on the pyramid walls. Look at that helicopter. Do that look like something that was just designed in the 20th century? No, this is on the pyramid walls. Why? These people came here from their star system and they bought aircraft with them. So these beings bought this aircraft because, think about, they have to take aircraft up there with them. Wouldn't they have to take helicopters to fly around to see exactly where they're going to develop and how they're going to develop? That's exactly what these people did, but it was a black civilization that did it. This is why when they have these Star Wars movies and stuff, they run into everybody out in space but black people. They ain't gonna ever run into no black people, and they know that we're the original people. there's a series that's out called Ancient Aliens. Make sure that you watch this series. Ancient Aliens on the History Channel. These Caucasians are almost ready to say, oh my God, this alien race was black people. They so close to saying it that they're doing everything that they can to figure it out and hope that they don't have to admit it. And I promise you, and behind closed doors, they holding their head like, oh my God, oh my Lord, it's black people that came to this planet from another star system. And I'm telling you, I've been watching this and I'm like, ooh, they want to say it, but they're so afraid. They just can't say it. Now, back to Elijah Muhammad. The black man is the God of the universe. There's a story that talks about this Nibiru, or this planet, that travels throughout the galaxy and comes back in this orbit every 3,600 years. We are now living in that cycle where these beings have come back into this star system, and this Nibiru, or this ship that Elijah Muhammad called the mother plane, or Ezekiel called it the wheel, or in the book of Revelation, John called it the holy city, is out in orbit as we speak. So these beings are coming back to this planet, and it's just a matter of time. So whether you want to believe this or not, it don't matter if you believe it or not, because you can believe something 100%, I mean with everything you got, and be 100% wrong. This is what you have to understand. And again, we use understand because to understand means you ain't got it or you ain't quite getting it. So we want you to get it this time. You must understand, just because you believe something, do not make it true. To get a point across, have you ever believed with all your heart that somebody loved you? I mean, with everything you had, you were willing to give your life for this person. You believed it with everything that they loved you. And then you found out that they didn't. It's the exact same thing. Just because you believe in what you're going to church to hear, do it make it true? And that's what we get to now. The church, and going back into what happened to our people. Look at our condition today. You got to know that we are in trouble. Caucasian police are being flooded into the black community for one reason. They have no compassion for us as a people. They have no problem with snatching our youth off the street and locking them up. And ain't nobody protecting our youth. Ain't nobody talking about it. These people, our youth, are not being represented by no leadership. None of these people that call themselves so-called leaders. Jesse and Al Sharpton, them niggas are professional agitators. If it ain't no money or media involved, they ain't got nothing to do with it. Now let's be real. You follow what I'm saying? Then all these ministers that used to be the community activists, back in the days before King, who were the ones that was out speaking to the people? Where were we having our secret meetings? In the church. Where were we doing even our policy slip when we were trying to build a community with the numbers business and the policy? It was done in the church. Even when they tried to outlaw it, the ministers were the ones that was having the people come in, and they would use the Bible to say, today's lesson is John 3:57. That let our people know that was the winning number for that day. What happened to the ministers that was activists like this? After they killed Dr. King, they started giving them 501c3s. And then taking another step further, that faith-based initiative. That faith-based money is hush money. Because brothers can't be active and radical no more, because the first thing they'll say, no brother, I can't do that. They'll cut my funding. A minister told me this. I was trying to give him this flyer. Look at this flyer. This is a very common sense flyer. And that's why when the brother said that, I said, oh my God, this nigga is crazy. So my problem is this here. They have something called parity legislation. Listen to this. Parity legislation. Parity legislation is very clear, but ain't no ministers talking about it. Ain't no politicians talking about it like it don't exist. Parity legislation says if a community is 90% black, then that means 90% of the policemen, firemen, and city workers working around in the street are supposed to be black. Now look at our community. Our community, 90% black, 90% of the police department are Caucasian, snatching up our youth, taking them to jail so that they can increase the stock on the New York Stock Exchange through a corporation called Corrections Corporation of America, where they are privatizing the prisons and they are using our people as slave labor. Now I want to share with you, this is very important to understand. Look at this flyer that I put together. Is this close enough?
Oh, good.
Look at this flyer. Read this. And it's very simple. I passed this to a minister who told me, I said, brother, pass these out for me. He said, brother, I can't get involved in that like that. They'll cut my funding. Listen what it said. If our community is 90% black, then we must have 90% black policemen in our community now. If the community owned the banks, the grocery and convenience stores, the gas stations, the strip malls, the beauty supply stores and clothing stores, then the people would share in the profits. This is the only way to recapture the market that was taken away from us through integration. That was a mistake, and it devastated our community because we were so mentally wanted to be so accepted by these people mentally that we just took off. And Dr. King was being misled when they was leading us into integration. Don't nobody want to talk about that. We said, oh, Dr. King was a great man. Yes, he was. He was a great man, but he was not a great leader. Because if he was, he would not have misled. He was a young man. Let's remember that. He was a young man that was out to talk against the injustice of our people, but was he a real leader at that time? No, he wasn't, because he didn't have the insight until he met with Elijah Muhammad. Elijah Muhammad was the leader of that time, and that's why he said, brother, you are being misled. These Caucasians are leading you to devastation. They wanted to control our money. They wanted to control our economic destiny. That was the whole purpose of these Caucasians whispering. What did the snake do in the garden? He whispered in Eve's ear. What did the snake do to Martin Luther King and them? They were whispering in Dr. King's ear. That's why those Caucasians were not there just to finance what was being done. They were there with an alternative motive. Ulterior motive. They had another motive behind being with Dr. King. So everybody talking about, oh yeah, white Caucasian people that was part of the struggle, excuse me. Those that was in his ear whispering, they wanted to segregate, they wanted to end segregation so they could control the $1 trillion market that we now have today. Elijah Muhammad, when he came to town, told him, brother, you are misleading our people. This is not the time of the integration. This is the time for the separation of the sheep and the goat. You are leading the sheep to live amongst wolves. And this is not the time for that, because after the 400-year bondage, the Genesis is very clear that these people are under a divine judgment that's going to take place through natural disaster. And if we are living amongst these people, like I heard Erykah Badu say something ignorant out of her mouth. She said, well, Most High must have made a mistake because a lot of black people got hurt. Excuse me, sister. A lot of black people are unaware and they're living amongst the devil, and these people are under divine judgment. And if black people are living there, they only getting hurt because their ass is in the way. That's what's going on. So we need to leave from around them and move amongst one another, and let whatever judgment is going to take place, let that judgment take place, because it's not going to stop nothing. The judgment coming, and there's nothing we can do to stop it. Did you know part of the judgment is the hurricanes? Did you know that all hurricanes start off the coast of Africa as a whirlwind in the ocean and works its way across the Atlantic in the slave trade route and then hit the shores of America? Did you know that? I had a meteorologist I saw on TV who was asking the question, why are all these hurricanes coming from the coast of Africa? I'm going to do like my little granddaughter, 9-year-old granddaughter did to her sister, duh. You understand what I'm saying? She did that to her little sister. I looked outside like that when you see her do that again. She said, duh. You know, I said, so I say that to us. What do you think? Why do you think those hurricanes are coming and hitting America, starting on the coast of Africa? Where did you take our people from? So this is not rocket science, but these are the things that our people need to know about. This is not a joking time. This is the time of a divine judgment. These people are coming to the planet, and because you don't know about this, this is a critical time. Jesus was a black extraterrestrial being. And when you hear extraterrestrial, you think about monsters and stuff because that's what they want you to think. When they hear extraterrestrial, first thing you think about is monsters, like Independence Day. That Independence Day is a mockery of an event that is going to take place. Elijah Muhammad wrote that in his book, The Theology of Time, when he said, when you see these ships coming, just know that there's a civilization of people on these ships that look like us. Wow. Now that's a profound statement. And these ships that he was talking about are out in orbit. During all thunderstorms, this brother here said, during thunderstorms, there are missions taking place throughout thunderstorms because these missions cannot take place on a clear day. So every time you see a thunderstorm, know that there's missions taking place up in outer space, out in orbit. And this is real. Jesus is a black extraterrestrial being. He is one of these beings that stood and said, let us make man in our image. They don't want to tell you that this book, the Bible that we have, is a plagiarized book of our people. The only people in that book that are Caucasians are the cursed seed of Canaan. Those 12 tribes, the Girgashites, Himalite, whatever that is, just go and read it. That's the 11 or 12 cursed seed, the cursed tribes of Canaan. These are the people that Abraham was selected to go and civilize. And when these people came out of the mountains, they were called beasts. Because our people had never seen people that act like this. That's why in the book of Daniel, you read about the beasts. In Revelation, when John was taken to the future, he saw the beasts. And back to that movie, Gladiator. Go look at that movie again carefully and remember the scene where the slave trader looked at the brother and said, I'll give you X amount for the brother. And he looked at, what was that the actor's name? Russell Crowe. He looked at Russell Crowe and said, and I'll give you X amount for the beasts. Why did he say that? Because they're telling you in the film who the beasts are. And in Revelation, John saw the future. And listen what John said. And the dragon gave power to the beast. You ask the minister, what does he mean by that? They don't have a clue. See, that's why it's important for us to, if you don't know, just say you don't know and sit down and get some facts and some information. But don't quit running around here like you know. And our people's biggest problem is that we don't know that we don't even know. That's the biggest problem that we have. We don't know that we don't know. So we get a little knowledge and think we know, but the book says, and the dragon gave power to the beast. What did they mean by that? Who represents the dragon when John saw the future? He saw a race of people that represented the dragon. Who was that? Do your own thinking. The Chinese. How did the dragon give power to the beast? It was the Chinese that introduced the beast to gunpowder. And once they introduced the beast to gunpowder, they're like, oh my God, we didn't introduce the wrong people to gunpowder. Because these people have taken that gunpowder and they're ruling the world with the weapons and stuff that they have created from this gunpowder. Now, the Great Wall of China. Do you think they built that wall for nothing? Hell no, they built that wall to keep the beasts out. They wanted them out of their land. They're like, oh my God, what have we done? They built the Great Wall of China. The structure is so huge, it's one of the only monuments that you can see from the moon. Now, do you think, I'm going to say it again, do you think they built that wall for nothing? Hell no, they built that wall for a reason. Them Chinese ain't had time to be building no damn wall for nothing. They built that wall for that reason and that reason only, and that is an absolute fact. These people are considered beasts. And that's who the beast is in the Bible that you're reading. The beast is the devil, but it is a race of people that came on the set. But it's not just one race, because the devil don't really have a particular race. It has a purpose. And everybody that's following along with his intentions is part of the devil's purpose. So you got to remember, if the black man is the original man, then the black man is the original devil. So when these devils got cast to the earth in the land of Nod, those were black people. Because white folks Caucasians were not here yet. So I can't help but be redundant, because after 400 years of mental indoctrination, and then 150 after the plantation, 150 years, mental indoctrination has been affected us so hard that our people are really lost. We lost with these degrees and everything. Because like your sister said yesterday, well, brother, do you have a degree in theology? I'm like, no. She said, well, I'm not too crazy about your method. I don't give a damn if you like my method or not. You know, I'm not doing this to appease you. I don't even know you. You follow what I'm saying? If she's trying to tell me, well, you know, another sister said, well, you know, brother, well, you know, my daddy taught us this and taught us that. I said, sister, you know what, that's what's wrong with us. Because you church-going people have this selfish doctrine, whereas, you know, get yours, I'll get mine. You follow what I'm saying? I said, my mother raised me with good sense too. And we got a lot of people in here that mother and parents raised them with good sense. We ain't talking about you. We talking about the lost sheep. The sheep that Jesus came here looking for. The people in the street that didn't get that. Just like I was listening to Oprah show one time, long time ago. I stopped looking at her a long time ago. But I heard her say something. They were talking about the people that, oh, that's supposed to be done in the home. Yes, Oprah, but we know that. But it's not being done in a home. So what about them that's not getting the knowledge that they're supposed to get? Are we supposed to just leave them? Back to Jesus came looking for the lost sheep. So all the niggas that don't want to help the lost sheep need to sit your ass down and let real men and real women take the position to do the things that need to be done. That's what we're talking about right now. I'm from Inglewood. I come back home and we got 300 churches in Inglewood. We don't have a black-owned grocery store. We don't have a black national bank. Now listen to this here. If integration was so good, why didn't the Chinese integrate? Chinatown is still Chinatown. Chinatown been Chinatown as long as I can remember. I lived in the Ickies and went to school in Chinatown as a child. Chinatown is going to always be